Hello and welcome back to another An Old Man Watches, and today we're going to be talking about a very well-known film, which is The Wizard of Oz from 1939. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto. So you probably know the plot of The Wizard of Oz, even if you've never seen it. It's an 80-year-old movie. It's been hugely successful over the decades. It's had multiple cinema releases. When I was growing up in the UK, it was on TV at Christmas every year. Yeah, I mean, maybe there are some young people watching this going, nah, nothing, know nothing about it, never seen it, don't understand what it is. But certainly through my generation, everybody was aware of the plot at the very least, even if they'd never actually seen the movie, and they probably had seen the movie. But just in case, the basic plot is that a young girl, in the original novel on which this is based, she's about 11. In this, she's 18 probably. A young girl who lives on a farm in Kansas with her aunt and uncle is caught in a tornado, and she and the house that she's in and her little dog Toto are swept up into the sky and find themselves in the magical land of Oz. And on arrival, Dorothy, that's the name of the girl, and her house crash land on the Wicked Witch of the East, killing her, which is, of course, much celebration for the people of Oz. And the Good Witch comes along and tells Dorothy, you must travel to the city of Oz and speak with the wizard, because he's the only one who can get you home. And so, to get there, you must follow the yellow brick road. And so, off Dorothy sets, and she's going to run into a bunch of friendly and unfriendly people on the way in her journey to find the wizard and hopefully find a way home back to Kansas. So that's basically the plot. You probably knew all that, and you went, "Why is he wasting my time telling me this? I already knew it." But just in case, that's essentially the plot. So what is there to talk about with this movie? Well, there's a few things that I want to talk about in terms of what makes it kind of interesting as a film. I will start by mentioning that the film wasn't initially a financial success, didn't officially turn a profit until it was re-released to cinemas in 1949, 10 years after its original release. But it was critically well received, nominated for some Oscars, won a couple, and it's ultimately, as I said, became a pop culture fixture, which leads me into the first thing I want to talk about, which is that it is very much a cultural touchstone, this movie. We're not in Kansas anymore. If I only had a brain, I'll get you my pretties. There's a stack of little bits and pieces of dialogue and sequences and references in this movie that you will have heard or used or heard and used, and you maybe didn't know where they came from. And this is the thing that kind of made them a popular idea. You know, click your heels and think of home. All of these kind of things. They're things that we probably have heard or heard referenced or have referenced ourselves, maybe knowing where they were from, maybe not knowing where they're from, but at the end of the day, they're from this movie. It really has embedded itself in the consciousness in a way that few movies do. I'm not sure why, maybe just age and repetition. I mean, some of them are, you know, like I'll Get You My Pretties and things like that. They are memorable little moments in the film, but why, you know, memorable moments in other films haven't had the same impact, I'm not sure. But definitely this is a movie that is a cultural touchstone for at least a couple of generations of people. As I said, maybe not today. If there's anybody young watching this, let me know. So that's number one. Number two, all a dream. So in the list of plot twists that your story can have, It Was All a Dream is top 5 worst. Let's be clear about that. In my opinion, it's a dreadful twist. And this movie doesn't have that as a twist, but one of the characters in the movie, after Dorothy has returned from Oz, does offer that, you know, as, oh well, you hit your head, you've been in a fever dream all this time. Everything that you dreamed about was just a dream. Everything that you thought happened in Oz was just a dream. It's offered in movie as an explanation for what Dorothy went through. It's not stated it's not stated unequivocally that that is correct. It is one character's explanation. Maybe Dorothy's consciousness did go to Oz. It was a magical land after all. Who knows? But it is absolutely true that Oz as a place follows dream logic. It's, the things that happen in it are deeply symbolic in a lot of ways. And if you watch the events in terms of their symbolic rather than literal meaning, the plot makes a whole heck of a lot more sense. Right up to and including potentially the happy ending that is Dorothy returning to sepia-toned Kansas at the end of the movie after her colourful adventures in Oz. And that is leading me into my third point, which is the colour coding in this film. This is a film that makes... So, preface this by saying Technicolor was a new thing when this movie was made, and The Wizard of Oz really leans into that opportunity of Technicolor. The opening and closing scenes set in the real world are sepia-toned. They're not black and white, they're brown and white, but they are, there is no colour in the opening sequence in Kansas or in the closing sequence after Dorothy returns to the real world. Everything in Oz is in full Technicolor. Now that's a fairly well-known aspect of the movie. You probably, again, could well have known that even if you've never seen the film. Colour is used even more than that, though, in The Wizard of Oz. It's very much a film that is using colour to convey information throughout it. So not only is Oz in Technicolor, but it uses lots of bright primary colours, or bright colours, not primary colours technically, like green, but they're bright, they're strong. Different areas of the film have very clear visual palettes going on. There's a lot of visual storytelling going on here. Colour is used a lot to signify things in the film. It's interesting to see, people engaging with colour as a new thing available to them, to use it as a storytelling device this early on. More than just, we can do colour now, isn't it amazing? It is used to tell story in a visual, non-verbal way, which is interesting. I think it's an interesting aspect to the movie. I think overall, The Wizard of Oz is worth seeing, both because of its cultural significance and because of those non-verbal storytelling techniques that it uses. I don't know that it's worth seeing as a piece of entertainment, though. There are some catchy songs, I guess, but it is an old movie. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, I think if you watch it, you'll probably be like, why is it a cultural touchstone? To some extent, but it very much is. So that's The Wizard of Oz. 3 things that I thought were interesting about it. Next time, we're going to mix things up. I do like to mix things up. I don't like to do things that are too close to being the same as one another in succession. So we're going to really take a division. We're going to look at Hitman, the movie, starring Timothy Olyphant. About as far removed as you can get from The Wizard of Oz. But still a movie that has some interesting things for us to talk about what it does, what it's trying to do, and whether that was a good idea in the context of the property it was using. So that's next time. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.